What's up, everybody? I hope you're all doing well and having a good day. Welcome to another video. And today we finished 4.0. So there's a lot to talk about. Some things I'm going to be praising and telling you how amazing they were. And I'm going to criticize some parts of 4.0 pretty hard because this has been a roller coaster for me. Where it's good, it was damn good. And where it was bad, well, I'll be talking about it in the video. Let's get straight in to Stormblood Part 4, the end of 4.0. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another video. So before we get into this, I do just want to preface this with just a little heads up. So when we ended the last video, we finished Doma. We finished Castle Doma, and for me, Doma was a flawless area. The characters were incredible. Usetsu, Yotsuyu, Hien, everyone in the steppes, just the turtle guys, everything about Doma was just so good. And for me, Doma is the expansion. Stormblood is Doma, and my heart is in Doma. As we come back to Ala Mhigo, I really don't have much good to say. Just being honest. I found the Doma area, the Ala Mhigo areas really dry. I thought they were paced really slow, and what happened just wasn't that great. And I think it's mostly the writing of the characters. I couldn't really. I felt like a lot of the good characters just weren't in it, and we're left with lease and some side characters, some of the side men. And then our villain Zenos. I think you all know my opinions on Zenos. I really don't like him. So for me, this was a struggle. But let's talk about the good things. Let's talk about some of the big major plot points. And I'll give you like an overall summary at the end. And when I start ranting, you can just turn the video off. So let's get in to Stormblood Part 4. So yeah, let's not include all the stuff I didn't like, because I know there's people who love Stormblood and you don't want to just listen to me moaning about the expansion. So let's talk about when it picked up. This was a good area for me. When you meet the Ananta, the snake people. This was completely refreshing. This was so good. I thought this was a really good little story they told in the middle of the Ala Mhigo areas. I thought this was a really cool story. I think the snake people are really interesting, and you see them at the very start, but you don't hear anything about them. So it was nice to get their full story, because you met the Namazu over in Doma, but you never really got to hear about the Ananta. So this was cool to see everything about them and to fight the Primal. So great fight. Great trial. Really enjoyed this. I think you can really tell in Stormblood that they've really just pushed the budget up. Stormblood trials, dungeons, I'm hearing raids too. They really pushed the quality up. One thing that doesn't change, I'm still tanking that floor, even as a samurai. Yeah, I love this trial. I think this trial was great. I want to come do it on extreme. I want to come do it on harder difficulty. Because it was really good. It was really good. We do everything blind, so I do all this on stream with people from the stream, and we do it all blind. So dying is very common, because I spend a lot of time learning the mechanics kind of live as we do it, and then hopefully getting better for next time. But yeah, this boss was really, really good, and just a great soundtrack to go along with it, which was definitely catchy. But back to the Ala Mhigo story. And I know if you like Stormblood, you probably love this cutscene. But yeah, for me, it didn't really hit. I think my issue was all Zenos. I think what they've tried to do with Zenos is make a character who's just too cool, and he just doesn't care. He's like a wannabe Sephiroth. He just doesn't really care, and his effort it seems to put no effort into the cutscene, and because he's putting no effort in, I don't care, and that's kind of how I feel with pretty much every time he's on screen. Yeah, so yeah, they gave Fordola the powers from Kral, and it was a cool idea, but I don't know, the writing or how it just was put across just didn't hit with me at all. And then we went fishing. I haven't fished much in Stormblood. I've really pushed through the story really hard. I need to do more fishing. I haven't done the 60 to 70 fishing quests yet, so that'll probably be in one of the next videos, maybe part 5 or 6, because I really do want to do them. I've done a lot of like underwater fishing with the spear, but I haven't done much of the fishing quests, so I need to crack on with those. My fish is like level 76, so we need to fish more. We need to fish more in the post patches. And then some of the things I really like about the game are the harder content, like the extremes and like the hard trials and the challenging content. Like Coils is one of the best parts about the game, in my opinion. I absolutely loved going through Coils synced. It was challenging, but it was fun. And I love the side content, like collecting minions, the golden saucer, collecting mounts, things like that. So having this reward and this cutscene and this big side content for doing challenging content is just so good. I loved getting the ARR one. I didn't even know it existed. So that was just amazing. And then to get the big Firebird for the Heavensward ones just feels so good. So I'm looking forward to doing this again in Stormblood. I think it's just such a good thing in the game that just doesn't need to be there, but it's so rewarding that it is. I'm gonna come out and be honest here. We did 5 of these completely legit. We did them on extreme difficulty. Some of them were minimum item level as well. But the last two Warring Triads, we just couldn't get a group together. We just couldn't get enough people that wanted to do the last 2 Warring Triads on extreme when we were streaming it. So we just haven't done those 2 yet. But everyone was ready for the others, but I think maybe people didn't have extreme Warring Triads unlocked, or they just weren't ready to do it when we were doing it. So we still need to go back and do those because we just didn't sync them. So I've got 2 Warring Triads that I still want to tick off properly. But other than that, everything else was really good. I love progressing through them. I think Ravana was one of my favorites, one of my favorite extremes, and the Whale was probably my least favorite. Overall, these were just really fun to collect. I think it's just such a cool system. You start to feel like Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet. I just think it's so cool. Yeah, really happy with this part of the game, and I look forward to getting the Stormblood ones. Please forgive me for unsyncing too. Thanks. And then I'm skipping ahead massively. I'm skipping ahead like 15 hours of the MSQ, I think, because nothing from that last cutscene to here, I don't even remember what happened. I really don't even, nothing has really left any impact on me from there to here. So I'm just going to skip to the next thing that I enjoyed, and that's Castrum Abania. I thought this dungeon was great. I think every bad thing I have to say about Stormblood, the trials and the dungeons were never bad. None of them I didn't enjoy. None of them were like a drop in quality. Every one was a banger. I loved every single part of the instanced grouped content. I thought it was just so good. I said in my last video, I don't know how they made Castle Doma so good, because they keep making Garlean themed dungeons, but they're still different and still exciting. And they've done it again. Castle Abania, you're basically fighting Garleans in a dungeon. But it was great. It was so good. It was really fun. And I think I like the subtle parts of this dungeon as well, like the machines full of creatures and monsters and robots that were like getting dropped on you, and the phasing of all the different fights that were happening. I thought that was really good. And then I liked how the subtle details that you could see that they were testing on their own people. I thought that was really interesting, especially after what you saw with like Fordola, and you know, just how you see the Garleans changes throughout the dungeon, and you see more of the dark side of things. Now you're in one of their compounds. So I thought that was really cool. And the last fight was great. I definitely underestimated this guy because he was actually quite hard. I thought he was really good. Yeah, so he would like, what would he do? He'd get like injected with stuff, and he would start pulsating and get stronger. And yeah, I thought this was a really cool fight. I feel like the tanks had it hardest here, but as a DPS it wasn't too bad. But he was definitely interesting to watch, definitely a cool character. And yeah, like I say, the whole testing on their own people thing was really interesting. But yeah, great dungeon. And then the ending was like, okay, I'm trying my hardest to stay positive. I've never spent so long recording one video ever, because I keep going on big rants and then deleting it and then trying to stay positive. This was fine. The ending was fine. It was a little predictable. You knew she had this special power, so you kind of knew you were going to lose, but it was okay. I think one issue I do have is there was never any, Stormblood never had an impact. I felt like nothing was happening. Like you knew you were going to lose to Zenos at the start, and the second time you fought him, and you knew you were going to lose to Fordola, but there was never any consequences. Like Alaze's just been critically injured. She's fine. Y'shtola was critically injured at the start. She's fine. Our player was critically injured by Zenos. He's fine. Not much impact. But it's fine. The story is okay. Let's move on. And then the last area you go to is leaps and bounds better than everything else in Ala Mhigo, in my opinion. I thought this was paced so much better. You had like instanced content, you had more cutscenes, you had more story, you had more action. I thought this was, if everything was like this last area, what was it? It was called like the locks, I think. If everything was like this last area, I think Ala Mhigo would have been good. Yeah, there was a lot more going on here, and I genuinely enjoyed it. Plus, Thancred's back, who is a great leading character. I absolutely love Thancred. So yeah, I thought the Lox was actually pretty decent. It was definitely the highlight of this whole area. And then yeah, we got to fight Fordola in a proper fight. We had a few extra people. We had the Siphon from Urianger to draw out her power, and yeah, this was really rewarding. Like I say, Fordola was a really, I thought she had good character development throughout Stormblood, and I thought she was a good villain. So this was like my ending. This was like my Stormblood villain, the Ala Mhigo villain, and the Ala Mhigo ending for me. This is the bit I cared about. So I thought this was really enjoyable, really rewarding. And then you had quite a good scene at the end with Kryl and Lease, and you took the high ground with her and arrested her. I thought it was really, really good. This was the definitely the highlight for me. Really enjoyed it. And then this last bit was super hype. I think Pippin's an amazing character. I wish Pippin was the lead on the Ala Mhigo war. I wish Pippin would have been in place of Lease, because I think he's so good. This thing here where he like rallies the thaumaturges and they start firing the gate down, and then they throw ice at the gate, and then they start blasting it with the cannons, was just so good. And then one of the best characters, I thought, Hien, coming over on all the mounts that you get from the steps, from the dungeon in the steps, was just so good. He's got like the supporting characters from over there with him. This was just amazing. I thought this was just a really good like climactic cutscene, and it really delivered. I was so hyped watching this, and watching it back, I'm just as hyped. It was really, really good. Absolutely 10 out of 10 for this cutscene. I think they did an incredible job. And then everybody turned up in little tanks. We did this on stream, and everyone came in little tanks, which was really funny. I thought this was really cool. I don't know where you get the tanks, but everyone seems to have one but me. But yeah, I thought this was really funny. To try and like blow down the door. Really cool, really cool. And then the Ala Mhigo dungeon, the very end. The dungeon itself was pretty cool. It was okay. The bosses were interesting. I thought the best thing about this was you saw all the side characters here, all the other characters that were also helping out in the war. You would see them running around inside, and you would see like all the different battles happening off screen. So if you like run past a gate, you see everyone fighting outside the gate, which was, I thought the stuff like that was a really cool little touch that was really interesting. And then you end the dungeon fighting Zenos, and then you get this cutscene. And it's all unveiled at the end that Zenos was controlling Shrinyu from the end of Heavensward, from like 3.5 something. Yeah, so he's been controlling him, and that's his secret weapon, and that's why he's got this extra power. And you get to fight him, and you get to fight the big primal dragon at the end. And I thought the fight, the trial was amazing. This cutscene and the ending itself, I'm going to talk about at the end, because personally, I didn't like it. I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. I didn't like it. So let's talk about the trial. This fight was phenomenal. The best trial in maybe the game. Is that too much of a bold statement? Maybe that's too bold. Maybe I should take that back. It might be the best trial in the game. It's one of the best trials in the game. It might be the best. This was so good. This was so good. I really, really like this. Ignoring all the story that surrounds this, just fighting this fight with this giant, powerful being and all the mechanics involved, it was just really, really good. It was just really good. I thought there were just so many elements to it. You had like the ad phase, you had the eggs hatching, you had the mechanics going on during the main fight, and then you had the transitions to the other phases. And I think we wiped it. We did it on minimum item level, and I think we wiped a few times because we do it blind. So yeah, we were kind of learning as we go. But generally, this was hard. This was fun. It was challenging. It kept you on your toes for the whole fight. I don't think at any point of the fight you could like step back and just take it easy. It was just a real challenge from start to finish, and I really liked it. I want to go do it again on like a harder difficulty. I always say that. And we always do. But yeah, I think this was a top tier fight. Definitely one of the best fights in the game. If not the best. I'm probably missing one that I like better, maybe. Maybe. But this was really good. I love it. And then you've got like the next phase when the mechanics just completely change. Everything you learned from the first phase is gone because these things come and slap you down. And then the floors break, and there's like a whole new set of mechanics to learn down here. It was just really, really, really good. So yeah, overall, this fight was a 10 out of 10. It was just so rewarding and such a cool experience that I can't say anything bad about it. It even had the difficulty to match the epicness of the fight. So yeah, it's so good, so good. I'm really interested because I think with how much is going on, if you put the difficulty to like extreme, that's gonna be hard because it's not just the damage he deals or how he deals it. It's the multiple mechanics at once that I think we're hitting so hard. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this again. I think this was a great fight. And then you had the ending. And we all know what happens at the ending. Zenos thanks you all for such a great fight and calls it a day. He quits the game. He ends himself. And I'm just gonna brief over this, and let's just get to a big Stormblood 4.0 summary. Let's just do that. So. I've tried my best to stay positive throughout this video, and I'm going to leave all my rants to the end. So if you have enjoyed the video, thank you for coming along to the video. I will catch you in part 5. Thank you so much. If you want to stick around and just listen to me complain, here it is. And just if you loved Stormblood, if you really like Lease and Zenos and the Ala Mhigo area, and this was like one of your favorite expansions, maybe just call the video here. Just end the video here because I don't want you to have to listen to something like I don't want you to have to sit here and just hear me complain about something you really love, because I know that's probably not fun for you. I've had people come into my stream saying, why are you not enjoying this? Why are you complaining about this? When certain parts of the story I just wasn't enjoying, and they were quite annoyed that I wasn't enjoying it, and I just wasn't. It is what it is. I'm gonna talk about it now because I've said everything good, but the good was a small island in a sea of not good. And I don't even know where to start. I think let's split it first. Ala Mhigo as one area and Doma as the other. Doma was perfection for me. I can't say a bad thing about Doma. It was great. I loved it. I loved the aesthetic, the theme, the vibe, the characters, the story, the content, the pacing. Once we got out of Kugane, at least, everything was perfect. And I can't say a bad thing about it. It was really, really, really good. And then we go back to Ala Mhigo, and it was all about the Ala Mhigo War. And we tell this weird political war story, and it just wasn't me. I didn't get it. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't find it interesting. And I just want to kind of go over the main issues I had with it. And the first one is one that I brought up in probably one of my first Stormblood videos, and that's pacing. I don't know if they ran out of budget. I don't know if they had a temporary writer, or if they had I don't know if something was going on in the company or something, but the pacing for me was just weird. It felt like all I did in Ala Mhigo was talk to people about the war and run around the desert, and there just wasn't much action. I didn't feel like I was ever fighting stuff outside of the trials and that kind of thing. And if the story was great, that would have been fine. But it was just a constant, we're at war, we're losing, we need help, and we need to beat them because we care about the people. And it was just that same story for like 20 to 30 hours. And it never changed. It was just always that same war story. And for that reason, if it would have been a bad story, or if the story hadn't been my kind of thing, it would have been fine if it was punchy. Like, you do a bit of story, you get a little instance content, you get a dungeon, you do a little bit more story, you go out and kill some stuff, you go out and do some quests. It would have been fine, but it just felt like it was just talking. And they just didn't have enough content in Ala Mhigo to take you away from that. And I just felt like I was drowning in a story I wasn't enjoying. The next big issue I had with it is why they isolated the war story from everything else. Like, if you think at the end of Heavensward, all the different stories that were going on, we had Omega and Shrinyu crash land. We had all the stuff going on with the Asians, all the stuff going on with the Hydaelyn and Minfilia, There was tons of side content and so many characters having their own little stories going on. But then when you come to Ala Mhigo, that doesn't exist. It's like a separate game. It doesn't exist. Nowhere in this story are you a warrior of light. Nowhere in this story are you do the Scions exist until the very last minute. Nowhere in this story does Omega and Shrinyu exist until the very last cutscene. It's like everything that made the game so good was just taken out. And then all the good characters who I've grown to love and who I really get on with and really love to see were just barren. They just weren't here. And I just don't know why. They wanted to tell a story with Lease, and they told a story with Lease. But at the cost of everything else, I think. When we got to the end and we had Pippin and Ruban and Hien and everyone come in for like a minute. That was the best minute of the expansion. I just don't know why they weren't here. It could have added so much more. And then I think my number one issue I've made pretty clear throughout this series is Zenos. I think Zenos was your leader, and every time you get through like 5 hours of story, like you talk to people for 5 hours, or like 3 hours, you do a massive chunk of story, and you get a cutscene, and you sit there, you get your popcorn ready, and you're ready for this cutscene, and it's Zenos sat on a chair with his head in his hands going, "I'm so not interested in this," and he just doesn't care. And it's like, how am I going to get excited when the main villain doesn't care about what's going on? And he killed his own commander, he killed his own lieutenant, he attacked his own people. He never did anything to us. He never gave me a reason. I never hated him. I never disliked him. He just didn't exist to me. He just wasn't in the expansion to me. He would come and fight. You'd fight him, and you'd lose, and he'd leave. Like he did a critical blow to Y'shtola. He knocked out Lease. He critically injured Alizé, and he did so much bad stuff, but none of it mattered. None of it did anything. If you'd have taken Zenos out of the expansion, what would have happened? What effect would that have had on the expansion? I don't know, because for me, he never really did anything. And I just think it was just wasted potential, in my opinion. Every time we saw him, I was just looking at him going, please do something, man. I'd get this cutscene and he'd be sat on his chair and I'd be like, yo, please do something. I know Omega's out there. I know Shrinyu's out there. I know so much is going on in this expansion. Please do something. Just excite me. And yeah, there's just nothing for the whole story. And then they just put everything into the last 10 minutes. It was just 10 levels, I suppose Ala Mhigo was like 5 levels of nothing, just 20, 30 hours of nothing. And then at the end, here's all your characters. Here's Shrinyu. Yo, go beat it quick. Here's everything. Look, he's so good. He's so powerful. Here's everything you wanted in the expansion in these last 10 minutes. Here you go. And you beat him. And it was just over. And I don't know. I just felt so just let down by it. I could pick it apart for like another half an hour and just talk about all my problems, but they're just my problems, and I don't want to just. If you've been to my stream, you've heard me rant enough. I'm just gonna wrap it up here. This just wasn't for me. For me, Stormblood is Doma. I've already forgotten everything that happened in Ala Mhigo. Doma is Stormblood, and I loved it. Everything else is just something we had to get through. But now we're moving on. I've started Omega on stream the other day, and that was amazing. So I'm really, really looking forward to going through and showing you Omega. I'm going to make a video on Omega. I don't even think I'm going to release it. Do I? I might release a video on my 4.0 reaction, but I hate posting negative content. I really do. I like to be a positive guy and share positivity. So I don't like to put across negativity, and I didn't really enjoy it. So I don't know if I'll post that video. Let me know if you do want to see it. It's not me on the edge of my seat hyped. It's more, really? What, really? Yeah, so I don't know. If you want to see it, let me know. But I will be showing Omega. That is incredible. I think that is a phenomenal raid series. It's going to be in the next video, and I'm going to post a separate video of us all just going through all the Omega fights on minimum item level. That should be out next week, because I'm loving Omega right now. And then we're going to move on to maybe the Ivalice raid series, or we're going to start 4.1. And I've heard they're good, so I'm really excited. This is just behind us now. But yeah, thank you if you got this far. You're a real one. Thank you if you put up with all this. Let's get in. let's get in to the next video. So thank you all so much. Take care, and I will catch you in the next one.